Welcome back to another live stream. Today, planning to read. I already planned to read Judges chapter 13 to all the way to 21, but unfortunately at the time I had some work, so hopefully the connection is good right now. So we connecting good. So okay, I think my stream is good right now. So I was planning to read Judges. The other day I was planning to read the Judges, but unfortunately I had some work, so I just read 3 chapters from chapter number 13 all the way to chapter number 15. So still got 6 more chapters in Judges. So I'm planning to read Judges chapter 16 all the way to chapter number 21, and then we go to Book of Ruth. The Book of Ruth only has like 4 chapters, so I'm planning to read that too. So if possible, we can finish it off the stream itself. So um, hopefully I can finish this task in the stream itself. So let's go to Judges chapter 16. Stream is good. Had a little glitch when I was doing my live streams. I was thinking, okay, I saw a glitch. So now it's working smooth. So hopefully it stays smooth. Judges chapter 16. Now Samson went to Gaza and saw an harlot there and went into her. The Gazanites were told, Samson has come here. They surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the gate of the city. They were quiet all night, saying, in the morning when it's daylight, we will kill him. Samson lay low till midnight. Then he arose at midnight, took hold of the doors of the gate of the city, and the 2 gateposts, pulled them up, bar and all, put them on his shoulders, and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Afterward it happened that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorok, whose name was Delia, and the lords of the Philistines came up to her and said to her, entice him and find out where his great strength lies, and by what means we may overpower him, that we may bind him to affect him. And every one of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver. So Delilah said to Samson, please tell me where your great strength lies, and with what you may be bound to affect you. And Samson said to her, if they bind me with 7 fresh bowstrings, not yet dried, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. So the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 fresh bowstrings, not yet dried, and she bound him with them. Now men were laying in wait, staying with her in the room, and she said to them, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. But he broke the bowstrings as a strand of yarn breaks when it touches fire. So the secret of his strength was not known. And Delilah said to Samson, look, you have mocked me and told me lies. Now please tell me what we may be bound with. So he said to her, if they bind me securely with few ropes that have been never been used, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. Therefore Delilah took new ropes and bound him with him, and said to him, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. And men were lying in wait, staying in the room, but he broke them off his arms like a thread. Delilah said to Samson, until now you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me what you may be bound with. And he said to her, if you weave the 7 clocks of my head into the web of the loom. So she wove it tightly in the bottom of the loom, and said to him, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. But he awoke from his sleep, and pulled off the bottom and the web from the loom. Then he said to him, how can I say I love you when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times, and have not told me where your great strength lies. And it came to pass, when she pestered him daily with the words and pressed him, so that his soul was vexed to death, that he told her all his heart, and said to her, no razor has ever come upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If I have shaven, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. When Delilah saw that he had told her all this, heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, "Come up once more, for as told me all his heart." So the lords of the Philistines came up to her, brought the money in their hand. Then she lured him to sleep on the knees, and called for the men and had him shave off the 7 locks of his head. Then she began to torment him, and strength left him, and he said, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." So he awoke from his sleep, and said, "I will go out as before, at other times, and shake myself free." But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. The Philistines took him and put him in the ice and brought him down to Gaza. They brought him with bronze fetters, and he became grinder in the prison. However, the hair of his head began to grow again after it has been shaven. Now the lords of the Philistines gathered together to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god. They rejoiced and said, "Our God has delivered it into our hands, Samson our enemy." The people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, "Our God has delivered into our hands our enemy, the destroyer of our land, the one who multiplied our dead." So it happened when their hearts were merry that they said, "Call for Samson that he may perform for us." So they called for Samson from the prison, and he performed for them, and they stationed him between the pillars. And Samson said to the Lord who held him by the hand, "Let me feel the pillars which support the temple, so that I can lean on them." Now the temple was full of men and women. All the lords of the Philistines were there, about 3,000 men and women, on the roof watching while Samson performed. And Samson called to the Lord, saying, "O Lord God, remember me. I pray, strengthen me. I pray just like this one. O God, that I may be with you. Thou take vengeance on the Philistines from my two eyes." And Samson took hold of the two middle pillars which supported the temple, and he braced himself against them, one on his right and other on his left. Then Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he pushed with all his might, and the temple fell on the lords and all the people who were in it. So the dead that he killed at his death were more than he had killed in his life. And his brothers and all his fathers and household came down and took him, and brought him and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of his father Manoah. He had judged Israel 20 years. Interesting chapter, Judges chapter 7 and 16. So let me go to Judges chapter 17. Now there was a man from the mountain of Ephraim whose name was Micah, and he said to his mother, 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from you, and on which you put a curse, even saying in it, my ears, here is the silver with me, I took it. And his mother said, "May you be blessed by the Lord, my son." So when he had returned the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother said, "I have only dedicated the silver from my hand to the Lord from my son, to make a carved image and a molded image. Now therefore I will return it to you." Thus he returned the silver to his mother. Then his mother took 200 shekels of silver and gave them to the silversmith, and he made it into a carved image and a molded image, and they were in the house of Micah. The man Micah had a shrine and made a ephod and a household idols, and he consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what is right in his own eyes. Now there was a young man from Bethlehem in Judah, the family of Judah. He was a Levite and was staying there. The man departed from the city of Bethlehem in Judah to stay wherever he could find a place. Then he came to the mountains of Ephraim, to the house of Micah as he journeyed. And Micah said to him, "Where do you come from?" So he said to them, "I am a Levite from Bethlehem, Judah, and I am on a way to find a place to stay." Micah said to him, "Dwell with me and be a father and a priest to me, and I will give you 10 shekels of silver per year, a suit of clothes, and your sustenance." So the Levite went in, and the Levite was content to dwell with the man. The young man became like one of his sons to him. So Micah consecrated the Levite, and this young man became his priest and lived in the house of Micah. And Micah said, "Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since I have made a Levite a priest." Interesting chapter. Let's go to chapter number 18. In those days there was no king in Israel, and in those days the tribe of Danites was seeking an inheritance for itself to dwell in. For until the day their inheritance among the tribes of Israel had not fallen to them. So the children of Dan sent 5 men of their family from their territory, men of valor, from Zorah and Eshtaol, to spy out the land and search it. They said to them, "Go search the land." So they went to mountains of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, and lodged there. While they were at the house of Micah, they recognized the voice of his young Levite. They turned aside and said to him, "Who brought you here? And what are you doing in the place? What do you have here?" He said to them, "Thus and so Micah did for me. He has hired me, and I have become his priest." So they said to him, "Please inquire of God that we may know whether the journey on which we will go will be prosperous." And the priest said to them, "Go in peace. The presence of the Lord be with you on your way." So the 5 men departed and went to Laish. They saw the people who were there, how they dwelt safely in the manner of Sidonians, quiet and secure. There were no rulers in the land who might put them to shame for anything. They went far from Sidonians, and they had no ties with anyone. Then the spies came out to the brethren at Zorah and Eshtaol, and the brethren said to them, "Where is your report?" So they said, "Arise, let us go against them. For I have seen the land, and indeed it is very good. Would you do nothing? Do not hesitate to go and enter possess the land. When you go, you will come to a secure people and a large land, for God has given it into your hands, a place where there is no lack of anything that is on the earth." And 600 men of the family of the Danites went from there, from Zorah and Eshtaol, and armed with weapons of war. Then they went up and encamped in Kirjah, Kiriam in Judah, and they passed from there to the mountain of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah. Then the 5 men who had gone to spy out the country of Flesh answered and said to their brethren, "Do you know that there are in this house of Ephod house idols, a carved image and a molded image? Now therefore consider what you should do." So they turned aside there and came to the house of the young Levite men, to the house of Micah, and greeted them. 600 men armed with their weapons of war, who were of the children of Dan, stood by the entrance of the gate. Then 5 men who had gone out to spy out the land went up, entering there. They took the carved image, the ephod, the house idols, and the molded image. The priest stood at the entrance of the gate with 600 men who were armed with weapons of war. When these went to Micah's house and took the carved image, ephod, the household image, and the molded image, the priest said to them, "What are you doing?" They said to him, "Be quiet, put your hand over your mouth, and come with us. Be a father and a priest to us. Is it better for you to be a priest to the household of one man, or that you be a priest to a tribe and a family in Israel?" The priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod, the household idols, and the carved image, and took his place among the people. Then they turned and departed and put the little ones, the livestock, and the goods in front of them. When they were in a good way from the house of Micah, the men who were in the house near Micah's house gathered together and overtook the children of Dan. They called out the children of Dan, so they turned around and said to Micah, "What ails you that you have gathered such a company?" So he said, "You have taken my gods which I have made, and the priest, and you have gone away. Now what more do I have? How can you say to me, what ails you?" The children of Dan said to him, "Do not let your voice be heard among us, lest angry men fall upon you, and you lose your life with the lives of your household." Then the children of Dan went their way, and when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back to his house. So they took the things of Micah had made, and the priest who had belonged to him, and went to Laish to a people quiet and secure. They struck him with the edge of the sword and burned the city with the fire. There was no delivered because it was far from Sidon, and they had no ties with anyone. It was in the valley that belongs to Beth Rehob. So they rebuilt the city and dwelt there. They called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan their father, who was born to Israel. However, the name of the city formerly was Lash. And the children of Dan set up for themselves the calm image. Jonathan the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan, until the day of the captive of the land. So they set up for themselves Micah, carved image, while he made all the time that the house of God was in Silhon. Chapter number 18. chapter number 19. And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite staying in a remote mountain of Ephraim. He took for himself a concubine from Bethlehem, Judah. But his concubine played an harlot against him, and went away from him to her father's house at Bethlehem, Judah. And there was 4 whole months. Then her husband arose and went after her to speak kindly to her and bring her back, having his servant and a couple of donkeys with him. So she brought him into her father's house, and when the father of the young woman saw him, he was glad to meet him. Now his father-in-law, the young woman's father, detained him, and he stayed with him 3 days. So they ate and drank and lodged there. Then it came to pass on the fourth day that they arose early in the morning and stood to depart. But the young woman's father said to his son-in-law, refresh your heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go your way. So they sat down, and the two of them ate and drank together. Then the young woman's father said to the man, please be content to stay all night, and let your heart be merry. And when the man stood to depart, his father-in-law urged him, so he lodged there again. Then he arose early in the morning on the fifth day to depart. But the young man's father said, please refresh your heart. So they delayed until afternoon, and both of them ate. When the man stood to depart, he and his concubine and his servants, his father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, look, the day is now drawing towards evening. Please spend the night. See, the day is coming to the end. Lodge here, that your heart may be merry. Tomorrow go your way early, so that you may get home. However, the man was not willing to spend that night. So he rose and departed, and came opposite Jebus. With him were the two saddled donkeys. His concubines was also with him. They were near Jebus, and the day was far spent. And the servant said to his master, come, please, and let us turn aside into the city of the Jebusites and lodge it in it. But his master said to him, we will not turn aside here into the city of foreigners, who are not the children of Israel. We will go on to Gibeah. So he said to his servant, come, let us draw near to one of these places, and spend the night in Gibeah or in Ramah. And they passed by and went their way, and the sun went down on them near Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin. They turned aside there to go into lodge in Gibeah, and when he went in, he sat down in the open square of the city, for no one would take them into his house to spend the night. Just then an old man came in from his work in the field at the evening, who also was from the mountains of Ephraim. He was staying in Gibeah, whereas the men of the place were Benjamites. When he raised his eyes, he saw the travelers in the open square of the city. And the old man said, where are you going, and where do you come from? So he said to him, we are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, towards the remote mountain of Ephraim. I am from there, and I went to Bethlehem, Judah. Now I am going to the house of the Lord, but there is no one who will take me into his house. Although we have both straw and fodder for our donkeys, and bread and wine for myself, for your female servant, and for a young man who is with your servant, there is no lack of anything. And the old man said, peace be with you, however. Let all your needs be my responsibility. Only do not spend the night in the open square. So he brought him into the house and gave fodder to the donkeys, and they washed their feet and ate and drank. As they were enjoying themselves, suddenly a certain man of the city, perverted men, surrounding the house and beat on the door. They spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, bring out the man who came to your house, that we may know him carnally. But this man, the master of the house, went to them and said to them, no, my brethren, I beg you, do not act so wickedly. Seeing this man has come into my house, do not commit this outrage. Look, here is my virgin's daughter, the man's concubines. Let me bring them out now. Humble them and do with them as you please. But to this man, do not do such a wild thing. But the men would not eat him. So the man took his concubines, brought her out to them, and they knew her and abused her all night until morning. And when the day began to break, they let her go. Then the woman came as the day was drawing, and fell down on the door of the man's house, where her master was, till it was light. When her master arose in the morning and opened the doors of the house and went out on his way, there was his concubines fallen at the door of the house with their hands on the threshold. And he said to her, Get up and let us be going. But there was no answer. So man lifted her onto the donkey, and the man got up and went to his place. When he entered his house, he took a knife, laid hold of his concubines, and divided her into 12 pieces, limb by limb, and sent her throughout all the territory of Israel. And so it was that all who saw it said, No such deed has been done or seen from the day that the children of Israel came from the land of Egypt until this day. Consider it, confer, and speak up. Chapter number 19 is completed. Hi, Brother Andy. Good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you had a great Sunday. And I think it's night time for you. So thanks, brother, for coming in. It's a night time, and still coming to the stream and listening to the Bible. Thank you once again. So let me go to Judges chapter 20. So all the children of Israel came out from the Dan to Beersheba, as well as from the land of Gilgad, and the congregation gathered together as one man before the Lord at Mizpah. And the leaders of all the people and all the tribes of Israel presented themselves in the assembly of the people of God, 400,000 foot soldiers who draw their sword. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel had gone up to Mizpah. Then the children of Israel said, Tell us, how did this wicked deed happen? So the Levite, the husband of the woman who was murdered, answered and said, My concubine and I went into Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin, to spend the night. And the men of Gibeah rose against me, and they surrounded the house at night because of me. They intended to kill me, but instead they ravished my concubine, so that she died. So I took hold of my concubine, cut her into pieces, and sent her throughout all the territory of the inheritance of the Israel, because they committed lewdness and outrages in Israel. Look, all of you are children of Israel. Give your advice and counsel her. And now, so all the people arose as one man, saying, None of us will go to his tent, nor will any turn back to his house. But now this is the thing which we will do to Gibeah. You will go up against it by lot. You will take 10 men out of every 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, 100 of every thousands, and thousands of every thousand, to make provisions for the people, that when they come to Gibeah and Benjamin, that may repay all the vileness that I have done to Israel. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, united together as one man. Then the tribes of Israel sent men throughout all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, What is this, the wickedness that have occurred among you? Now therefore deliver up the men, perverted men who are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death and remove the evil from the Israel. The children of Benjamin would not listen to the voice of their brethren. Children of Israel instead, children of Benjamin, gathered together from the cities to Gibeah to go to battle against the children of Israel. And from their cities at that time, the children of Benjamin numbered 26,000 men who draw the sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, who numbered 700 select men. Among all these people were 700 select men who were left-handed. Everyone could sling a stone at a hair breadth and not miss. Now besides Benjamin, the men of the Israel numbered 400,000 men who drew the sword. All of these were men of war. Then the children of Israel arose and went up to the house of God to inquire of God. They said, Which of us shall go up first to battle against the children of Benjamin? The Lord said, Judah first. So the children of Israel rose in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. The men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin. The men of Israel put themselves in the battle of Array to fight against them at Gibeah. Then the children of Benjamin came out of Gibeah, and on the day cut down to the ground 22,000 men of Israel. The people, that is, the men of Israel, encouraged themselves and again formed the battle line at the place where they had put themselves in array on the first day. And the children of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until evening, and asked counsel to the Lord, saying, Shall I again draw near for battle against the children of Israel, against the children of my brother Benjamin? The Lord said, Go up against him. So the children of Israel approached the children of Benjamin on the second day, and Benjamin went out against them from Gibeah on the second day, and cut down to the ground 18,000 more of the children of Israel. All these drew the sword. Then all the children of Israel, that is, all the people, went up and came to the house of God and wept. They sat there before the Lord and fasted that night until evening, and they offered burnt offering and a peace offering before the Lord. So the children of Israel inquired of the Lord. The ark of the covenant of God was there in those days. The Phinehas, the sons of Elsa, the son of Aaron, stood before it in those days, saying, Shall I yet again go out to battle against the children of my brother Benjamin, or shall I cease? The Lord said, Go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into your hand. Then Israel set men in ambush all around Gibeah, and the children of Israel went up against the children of Benjamin on the third day, and put themselves in battle array against Gibeah, as at the other times. So the children of Benjamin went out against the people, and were drawn away from the city. They began to strike down and kill some of the people, as at the other times, in the highways, and in the field about 30 men of Israel. The children of Benjamin said, They are defeated before us, as at the first. But the children of Israel said, Let us flee and draw them away from the city to the highways. So all the men of Israel rose from their place and put themselves in the battle array at Baal Tamar. Then Israel men in ambush burst forth from their position in the plain Gibeah, and 10,000 selected men from all Israel came against Gibeah. The battle was fierce, but the Benjaminites did not know the disaster was upon them. The Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel. The children of Israel destroyed that day 25,100 Benjamites. All these drew the sword. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were defeated. The men of Israel had given ground to Benjamites, because they relieved on the men in ambush who they had set against Gibeah. The men in ambush quickly rushed upon Gibeah. The men in ambush spread out and struck the old city with the edge of the sword. Now the appointed signal between men and Israel and the men in ambush was there would make a great cloud of smoke rise from the city, whereupon the men of Israel would turn in battle. Now Benjamin has begun to strike and kill about 30 of the men of Israel, for they said, Surely they are defeated before us, as in the first battle. But when the cloud began to rise from the city in a column of smoke, the Benjamin looked behind them, and there was a whole city going up in a smoke to heaven. And when the men of Israel turned back, the men of Benjamin panicked, for they saw that the disaster had come upon them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel, the direction of the wilderness. Surrounded the Benjamites, chased down, and easily trapped them as far as in the front of Gibeah towards the east. And 18,000 men of Benjamin fell. And all these were men of valor. Then they turned and fled towards the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And they cut down 5,000 of them on highways. And they pursued them relentlessly upon to Gideon, and killed 2,000 of them. So all who fell on the Benjamin that day were 25,000 men who drew the sword. All these were men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled towards the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And they stayed at the rock of Rimmon for 4 months. And the men of Israel turned back against the children of Benjamin, and struck them down with the edge of the sword. For every city, men and the beast, all who were found, they also set fire to all the cities they came to. Oh, this is a big. Yeah, it's a very. Judges chapter 20 is like a fight between Benjamites and Israel. So, yes, very thoughtful and provoking section of the Bible. Yes, brother. Very thoughtful and provoking section. Yeah. So I'm planning to like complete Judges. So this is the final chapter for the book of Judges. Judges chapter 21, and I'll be studying Ruth. And from tomorrow, I'm going to study the favorite book of Brother Andy. You know what's the favorite book? One of the favorite book I would say, because Andy loves many books. Andy loves the entire Bible, but I would say he loves First Samuel and Second Samuel, he always talks about it. So after Ruth, the next is Samuel. So that's one of the interesting books. And Brother Andy also likes the book of First Samuel and Second Samuel. So that's your interesting book, right, Brother Andy? From tomorrow, I'll be reading it. Hopefully, I'd like to see you come in if possible, if you're free. And may God with you. May God be with you and with all of us. Oh, no. Now the men of Israel had sworn an oath at Mizpah, saying, none of us shall give his daughters to Benjaminite as a wife. Then the people came to the house of God and remained there before God till evening. They lifted up their voice and wept bitterly and said, O Lord God of Israel, why has this come to pass in Israel, that today there should be one tribe missing in Israel? So it was in the next morning that the people rose early and built an altar there and offered a burnt offering and a peace offering. The children of Israel said, who is there among all the tribes of Israel who did not come up with their assembly to the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning anyone but not come up to the Lord at Mizpah, saying, he shall surely be put to death. And the children of Israel grieved for Benjamin their brother, and said, one tribe is cut off from Israel today. What shall we do for wives for those who remain, seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them our daughters as wives? And they said, what one is there from the tribes of Israel who did not come up to Mizpah to the Lord? And in fact, one had come to camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly, for when the people were counted, indeed not one of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead was there. So the congregation sent out their 12,000 of their most valiant men, and commanded them, saying, go and strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, including the women and children. And this is the thing that you shall do. You shall utterly destroy every male and every woman who has known a man intimately. So they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins who had not known a man intimately. So they brought them to the camp at Shilgal, which is in the land of Canaan. Then the whole congregation sent forth to the children of Benjamin who were at the rock of Rimmon, and announced peace to them. So Benjamin came at the time, and they gave them the woman whom they have saved alive, the woman of Jabesh Gilead, and yet they have not fought enough for them. The people grieved for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a void in the tribes of Israel. And the elders of the congregation said, what shall we do for wives for those who have remained, since the women of Benjamin have been destroyed? And they said, there must be an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, that the tribe may not be destroyed from Israel. However, we cannot give them wives for our daughters. The children of Israel had sworn an oath, saying, cursed be the one who gives a wife to Benjamin. Then he said, in fact, there is a yearly feast in the Lord in Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shisham, and the south of Lebanon. Therefore they instructed the children of Israel, Benjamin, saying, go lie in wait in the vineyard and watch, and just when the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dances, then come out from the vineyards, and every man catch a wife for himself from the daughters of Shiloh. Then go to the land of Benjamin. Then it shall be, when the fathers of their brothers come to us to complain, that we may say to them, be kind to them for our sakes, because we did not take a wife for any of them in war. for it is not as though you have given the woman to them at this time, making yourself guilty of your oath. The children of Benjamin did so. They took enough wives from their number, from those who danced, whom they caught. Then they went and returned to their inheritance, and they rebuilt the cities and dwelt in them. So the children of Israel departed from there at that time, every man to his tribe and family. They went out from there, and every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what right in his own eyes. So Judges chapter 21 is completed, and with that, the book of Judges is completed as well. So I've completed Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, then Joshua, Judges. So 7 books of the Old Testament has been completed, and I've already completed the New Testament, the book of Acts, Romans, then First Corinthians. I'm almost like chapter number 14 and stop there. Hopefully, I will be reading that 2 chapters in the future and completing the First Corinthians too. But almost 10 books has been completed so far out of the 66 books in the New Testament. So right now, I'm going to read Ruth. Ruth has 4 chapters. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Ruth has 4 chapters. So Ruth chapter 1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there were a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to dwell in the country of Moab. He and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech. Okay, Elimelech. The name of his name was Naomi. The names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, Ephraimites of the Bethlehem, Judah, and they went to the country of Moab and remained there. Then Elimelech, Noah's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. Now they took wives of women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpha, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died, so the woman survived her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab that the Lord had visited his people by giving them bread. Therefore she went out from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on their way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go return each of her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. Then the Lord grant that you may find rest, each in the house of her husband. So she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said to her, Surely we will return with you to your people. But Naomi said, Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there still sons in my home, and that they may be your husbands? Turn back, your daughters. Go, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say I have a hope, if I should have an husband tonight, and should also bear sons, would you wait for them till they were grown? Would you restrain yourself from your having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me. Then they lifted up the voice and wept again, and Orpha kissed her mother-in-law, but the Ruth clutched to her, and he said, Look, your sister-in-law has gone back to the people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. But Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave you, or to turn back from the following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be mine, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do not do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. When she saw that she has determined to go with her, she stopped speaking to her. Now the two of them went until they came to Bethlehem. And it happened, when they had come to Bethlehem, that all the city was excited because of them. And the woman said, "Is this Naomi?" But she said to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out fully, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has affected me?" So Naomi returned, and the Ruth and the Moabites, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. Now they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Chapter number 1 is completed. Chapter number 2. There was a relative of Naomi's husband, a man of great wealth, of a family of Elimelech. His name was Boaz. So Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Please let me go to the field, 3 eats of grain. After him, on whose side I may find favor." And she said to her, "Go, my daughter." Then she left and went and gleaned into the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. Now behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." And they answered to him, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz said to the servants who was in charge of the reapers, "Whose young man is this?" So the servant who was in charge of the reapers answered and said, "It is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab." And she said, "Please let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves." So she came and has continued from morning until now, though she rested a little in the house. Then Boaz said to Ruth, "You will listen, my daughter, will you not? Do not go to glean in another field, nor go from there, but stay close by my young woman. Let your eyes be on the field which they reap, and go after them. Have I not commanded the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessel and drink what from what the young men have drawn." So she fell on her face, bowed down to the ground, and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should notice of me, since I am a foreigner?" And Boaz answered and said to her, "It was being fully reported to me all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, and how you have left your father and your mother and the land of your birth, and have come to a people whom you did not know before. The Lord repay your work, and a full of reward be given you by the Lord of God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge." Then he said, "Let me find favor in your sight, my lord, for you have comforted me, and have spoken kindly to your maidservants, though I may not like one of your maidservants." Now Boaz said to her at the mealtime, "Come here and eat the bread. Dip your piece of bread in vineyard." So she sat beside the reapers, and he passed parched grain to her, and she ate and was satisfied, and kept some back. And when she rose up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, "Let her glean every among the sheaves, and do not reproach her. Also let the grain of the bundles fall purposely for her. Leave it that she may glean, and do not rebuke her." So she gleaned in the field until evening, and beat out what she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah for barley. Then she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned. So she brought out and gave it to her what she had kept back after she had been satisfied. And her mother-in-law said to her, "Where have you been gleaned today, and where did you work? Blessed be the one who took notice of you." So she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked, and said, "The man's name whom I work today is Boaz." Then Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be he of the Lord, who has not forsaken his kindness to the living and the dead." And Naomi said to her, "This man is a relation of ours, one of our close relatives." Ruth the Moabite said, "He also said to me, you shall stay close by my young men until they have finished all my harvest." And Naomi said to the Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It is good, my daughter, that you may go out with this young woman, that the people do not meet you in any other field." So she stayed close by the young woman of Boaz, to glean until the end of the barley harvest and the wheat harvest, and she dwelt with her mother-in-law. Chapter number 2 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 3. Yeah. Hi, Jess. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Jess is in the house, and hope both of you have a good sleep. And tomorrow is Monday. Both of you will be going to work. May the Lord be with you. The Lord bless you. The Lord make His face shine upon you. Let me go to chapter 3. Two more chapters, and then the book of Ruth will be completed. And from tomorrow, or maybe even today, I don't know, but I'll be reading First Samuel and Second Samuel. If you know, Brother Andy loves the book of Samuel. He always says about it. He always talks about reading Samuel and how he's very interested in reading book of Samuel. So tomorrow I'll be reading that book. So I'm eagerly I'm eagerly waiting to read the book because Brother Andy has hyped me before about the book of Samuel. So I want to read the book and want to know what's there in this Samuel. I read some of the chapters in Samuel, but not in depth in reading. So it's gonna be interesting and excited. I'm very excited actually. So hopefully God may guide me and make me to read the book of Samuel. So let me go back to Luke chapter 3. Yeah, still missing Tony Scofius. Yeah, I spoke to Tony a few days back, and he said he's doing good. And from the words of Tony, I don't see like he's motivated to do the live streams. It's a very sad news, I would say. But he also said he's not giving up. Maybe one day he may come, but right now I think he's chilling. He's doing his work. He's taking care of Eric. As far as the live stream coffee house, from his voice, I would say he's not that interested right now. But he's watching YouTube. He's listening to the Bible. He's having some personal time. But hopefully, he said he never gave up and he will never give up. Maybe one day, if possible, he may come to the YouTube live stream platform, but we don't know. But we pray for him because Tony has edified us. Tony has preached the gospel to many people. We all love Tony because of his live streams, because of preaching the gospel, because of his bold preaching. So hopefully he comes back. So prayer is the only option right now, I would say. So do pray for Tony Scofias. Okay, those are Luke's favorite books. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But I also, Andy, I also hear in your streams you like every time you like the book of Samuel. So that's why I was saying, and he loves the book. So I want to know what's the what's inside the book of Samuel. So hopefully I will come back tomorrow and be reading the book of Samuel. So that's what Andy is saying. Those are Luke's favorites book. We still have much to talk about with Ezekiel. Remember, yes, we just read. Yeah, we just read and talked about Ezekiel chapter 1 to 4, I guess. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about Ezekiel. Yes, I'm ready to come, brother. I'm ready to come to your OBS whenever you're setting up the stream. I'll be coming up. Maybe if you want to talk about Ezekiel, yes, definitely. Yes, Tony helped me so much of my journey. Yeah, definitely. Tony, like, he preaches the gospel, and he's a bold speaker. I would say he doesn't care about. He's not afraid to preach the gospel, and he's also a Bible researcher. If someone asks a question, he goes and explains it. So That's an important thing, I would say. A good quality to be a preacher, you have to explain. You just cannot preach, but you also need to explain. And Tony is one of the people who does that. So kudos to him. I do like Samuel. Luke turned it on for me. Okay, okay, brother. Thanks for sharing. So let me go to Ruth chapter 3. Then Naomi, her mother in law, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you that it may be well with you? Now Boaz, whose young man you were with, is he not our relative? In fact, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Therefore wash yourself and anoint yourself. Put on your best garments and go down to the threshing floor, but do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Then it shall be when he lies down that you may notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in, uncover his feet, and lie down, and he will not tell you, he will tell you what you should do." And she said to her, "All that you say to me, I will do." So she went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that her mother in law instructed her. And after Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was cheerful, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came softly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Now it happened at midnight, the man was strangled and turned himself, and there was a woman was laying at his feet. And he said, "Who are you?" So she answered, "I am Ruth, your maidservant. Take your maidservant under your wing, for you are a close relative." Then he said, "Blessed are you of the Lord, my daughter, for you have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning, in that you did not go after a young man, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you have requested. For all the people of my town know that you are a virtuous woman. Now it is true that I am a close relative. However, there is a relative closer than I. Stay this night, and in the morning it shall be that if he will perform the duty of a close relative for you, good, let him do it. But if he does not want to perform the duty of you, then I will perform the duty for you, as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning." So she lay at his feet until morning, and she arose before on one could recognize other. Then he said, "Do not let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." Also he said, "Bring the shawl that is on you and hold it." And when she held it, he measured 6 ephahs of barley and laid it on her chin. And then she went into the city. When he came to her mother-in-law, she said, "Is that you, my daughter?" Then she told her all that the man had done for her. And he said, "These 6 ephahs of barley gave me, for he said to me, 'Do not empty-handed for you, mother-in-law.'" Then she said, "Sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will turn out. For the man will not rest until he has concluded the matter this day." This is chapter number 3. So the final chapter for today, Ruth chapter 4, and that will be the completion of the book of Ruth. Now Boaz went up to the gate and sat down there, and behold, the close relatives of whom Boaz had spoken came by. So Boaz said, "Come aside, friend, sit down here." So he came aside and sat down, and he took 10 men of elders of the city and said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. Then he said to the close relative, "Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, sold a piece of the land which I belonged to our brother Elimelech. Then I thought to inform you, saying, Buy it back in the presence of the inhabitants and the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But you will not redeem it, then tell me that I may know, for there is no one but you redeem it, and I am next after you." Then he said, "I will redeem it." Then Boaz said, "On that day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also buy it from Ruth, the Moabites, the wife of a dead, to perpetuate the name of the dead through his inheritance. And the close relatives said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I ruin my own inheritance. You redeem my right of redemption for yourself, for I cannot redeem it. Now this was the custom in former times in Israel concerning the redeeming and exchanging. Confirm anything. One man took off his sandals and gave it to the other, and this was the confirmation in Israel. Therefore the close relative said to Boaz, Therefore the close relative said to Boaz, buy it for yourself. So she took off his sandal, and Boaz said to the elders and all the people who are witness this day that I have brought all the Elimelech and all that was in Chilion and Mahlon from the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabite, the widow of Moab, the widow of Mahlon, have I acquired as my wife to perpetuate the name of the dead, whose inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brethren, and from his position at the gate. You are a witness this day. And all the people who were at the gate and the elders said, we are witness. The Lord make the woman who's coming to your house like Rachel and Leah, the two who build the house of Israel, and may prosper in Ephrath and be famous in Bethlehem. May her house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring which the Lord will give you from his young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife, and he went in to her. The Lord gave her conception, and she bore a son. Then the woman said to Naomi, blessed be the Lord who has not left you this day without a close relative, and may his name be famous in Israel, and may he be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you, who's better to you than 7 sons, has borne him. Then Naomi took the children and laid him on the bosom and became a nurse to him. Also the neighbor woman gave him a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi, and she called his name Obad, and his father Jess, the father of David. Okay, this is interesting because in the lineage, in God's Jesus Christ lineage, we see this name, the father of Jess, the father of David. Okay. Now this is the genealogy of Perez. Perez begot Herson, Herson begot Ram, and Ram begot Abinadab, and Abinadab begot Nashom, and Nashom begot Salmon, and Salmon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed, and Obed begot Jess, and Jess begot David. So this is chapter number 4. So the book of Ruth is also completed. So the next stream I'll be reading First Samuel. So hopefully I'll be reading these chapters and finishing the First Samuel and Second Samuel within this week. Thanks for coming in, brothers. Hope everybody has a good sleep and have a good night's sleep. And tomorrow is Monday, the first day. Everyone has to work. So I pray everybody has a great day tomorrow. They start the new week. So in India, today is Republic Day. They're celebrating Republic Day. Just giving an information. Today is Republic Day for the people of India. So okay, this is what today is the Republic Day for India. People are celebrating the Republic Day. This is the 76th Indian Republic Day. I know the Independence Day for the America is on July 4th, and they said that's going to be their 250th year. So great things. 250 years of independence for America, and right now for India, it's 76th Republic. So just giving an information about what's happening. Yeah, happy Republic Day. Yes, thanks, brother. Yeah, you're like Donald Trump is going to conduct a UFC event in the White House on that day, July 4th. The UFC event will be conducted in the White House, so the Independence Day, and that's like the 250th year of the independence. So here in India today, they are celebrating Republic Day. They're having a parade in the beach. It's called Marina Beach. They'll be having a parade. They'll be showcasing all the soldiers, and they'll be giving some rewards to the people who died for the country. And speaking about all the military actions, the military defense, and all the other stuffs about military. So this is what happening in India today. Republic Day, January 26th, and the Independence Day is on August 15th. So that's what I'm informing. So thanks, brother Andy. Thanks, brother Jess, for coming in. Obed name means worshipper or servant. Okay, brother. Happy Republic Day, Jaro. Thank you, brother. And advance happy Independence Day for your country and for you. On July 4th, they said they is Independence Day. But remember, I just want to say one thing. The country may get an independence, but the true independence, the true freedom is through our Lord Jesus Christ. And we could be proud about our Republic Day and Independence Day, but the greatest achievement which God made Jesus, through Jesus, now we are saved. That's the important thing. So we praise him, we glorify him, and thanks once again, brothers, for coming into the live stream. Hope to see you in another live stream. Thank you once again. Bye.